guess what? Ukrainian forces withdraw from Lysychansk. How do you say that? Lysychansk. Their last holdout in the key region. So Ukraine is now officially pulled out of Donbass. So just so you know, this is the Donbass here. This is the part that the people here didn't want to go along with the coup that happened in 2014 in Ukraine. So these are the people who identify the Russian speakers. They identify more with Russia. And this is called the Donbass. This is the city right here. So this is it. So that's what we're talking about. Here's Russia. There's Ukraine. Here's the part we're talking about. Russia has taken control of Lysychansk, the last city in the Luhansk region in eastern Ukraine that was still under Ukrainian control. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu reported to President Vladimir Putin that the military had taken over Lysychansk and a number of nearby settlements on Sunday, according to the country's Ministry of Defense. Ukraine's military announced Sunday that it had been forced to withdraw from the critical city. In his nightly televised address to the nation, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the retreat from Lysychansk was motivated to save the lives of Ukrainian troops. But then he said this: "We will rebuild the walls, we will win back the land, and people must be protected above all else." That is not happening. They are not going to rebuild the walls, and they will not win back the land. That is not happening. Luhansk is one of the two regions that form Donbass, the eastern part of the Ukraine, where the conflict between Ukraine and Russian-backed separatists started in 2014. They don't tell you why it started. It started because the United States helped institute a coup with Nazis of the democratically elected government in Ukraine, and they installed a government that was more friendly to the European Union and less friendly to Russia. That's what happened. Then there was a peace agreement called the Minsk Accords, and Ukraine agreed to stop bombing people in Donbass. They didn't. They killed 14,000 more people over the next 8 years. And then Putin invaded to protect those people. The area has become the key centerpiece of Putin's military ambition in Ukraine after his troops failed to take over Kiev earlier this year. Let's remember what Colonel McGregor says was exactly so. Remember, they were saying, we're going to win, we're going to beat back. They just need some more arms and they can beat back. They're going to win against Russia. They were never going to win against Russia. And we all knew how this was going to end. It had to end. And so what's going on now? What's going on? All those people died for nothing. All the people that are being killed in Donbass and Ukraine are being killed for nothing because everybody knew how this was going to end when it started. And here's Colonel McGregor. Know that he didn't make general because he told the truth about the military. And so he's now telling the truth about Ukraine. And here it is.
They're going to win, and they're destroying NATO. They're tearing Europe apart. Europeans are finally beginning to wake up to the disaster. They've lost control in Eastern Europe. You have the Lithuanians who want to cut the Russians off from East Prussia, or this place called Kaliningrad. You have Russian retired officers now calling for Putin to commit nuclear weapons to the defense of Kaliningrad. At the same time, you have the Poles who continue to advocate for greater violence against Russia and greater support for the non-existent Ukrainian state. Because let's face it, Ukraine is now a failed state. It's collapsed. People are being pushed at gunpoint into Russian fire. This whole thing is a disaster. But no one wants to admit failure because they know once they admit failure, they lose all credibility. Well, of course, obviously, we could have.
It's a failed state, complete collapse. So when Zelensky says we're going to get this land back, it's, you know. So there you go. Ukraine officially pulling out. So I don't know how much longer they want to have their citizens be killed, because that's all this is doing, is making more people get killed. We're going to Chicago, Sacramento, San Diego, Bakersfield. See you there. Go to JimmyDoreComedy.com for a link for all our tickets.